Students did a number of assignments during the semester and then had about the final 5 weeks to do a project of their own design. Some they did from their own interests, some they did in coordination with people here at the university who had expressed interest in apps. You'll see a wide variety of them. I think some of them are very exciting. We're going to, for most of the apps, we're going to sort of randomly select who goes to sort of add to the drama and suspense. I actually wrote an app last night to do that. That would be appropriate. But to do some special people who are here, who came here just to see Kaylin give her presentation, we're going to let her go first. So, Kaylin, take it away.
All right. Like you said, I'm Kaylin, and I was working on the past couple weeks an engineering tour. And this is basically something that will walk you through all of engineering. It's directed towards people that when they see this map get really freaked out and have no idea what to do. I know that I, as a freshman, was definitely one of these people. I would look at this map and I got lost multiple times that freshman year where I had no idea where to go and really just didn't quite understand where I stood as a student in engineering and also just at Penn State as a whole. I'm part of Engineering Ambassadors, which is an organization that reaches out to prospective students as well as incoming students and basically just tries to get them to understand what Penn State's all about, what engineering does, and to really get them to fall in love with the whole curriculum and the program as a whole. So that's kind of the background behind what my app is and the reason why I did it. So I will now somehow show.
Escape. Swipe over.
Awesome. Okay. This is my app. You start out with this homepage, and basically the ideal form that we want you to do is start off with the tour. The tour basically is just a trip that we take with all the students that when they can make it here. But this is for students that if they can't make it during a scheduled Engineering Ambassador time, they can download this on their phone and go on this tour on their own. So once they launch up the app, they'll be able to see, well, this, I don't know where this is going to put it. I think that put it in California. But when they actually have the iPhone on, they'll be able to see where their position is on the map, and basically it instructs them where to go first, and that is this gold star up here. It will take them over to that area and get them to Kunkel, which is where we start all of our tours. And they can click on that star and they'll be able to learn more information about the star. We have some basic information, and then they'll be able to watch some videos that will explain each position or each spot. I don't want to say. Hey, sorry. But yeah, each one has its own stop that will go through and walk them through each spot. After they go through each position, it'll tell them where to walk next, and they can go there and basically travel through this map one spot at a time, checking out each major and learning a lot about College of Engineering as a whole. As they step through each spot, they'll have, we have more than just our majors. We have spots for housing, we have spots for minors and extracurriculars as well, and it's really a tour to show them what they can see throughout their time here as an engineer. After they're done with this tour, though, they might have some more questions, and that's sort of what this main menu is for. Through this main menu, they can look at all of the engineering majors at their leisure, and they can see where they are on campus and really just check those out as they want to. So if you want to look at computer science, you could do that. And see, we have a lot of future potential jobs as well as employment opportunities that we suggest you can get out of this major to really help them understand what they will get out of that position. We also have the minors, if they're interested in that. I know I didn't really understand what the minors were until my junior year, and that would have been something cool to know better when I was coming in as a student. Then one of our big things that we wanted to focus on was also pointing out housing, because when you're coming to a school with 42,000 students, it might be really intimidating to try and figure out where you're living. So we highlight all the different areas as well as the special living options within engineering so that they can check each one out and see what might be right for them or what they might like to try differently. They can also go on this map and find all of the different spots as they go in and check them out while they're walking through if they have the time. And then the last thing that we really accent is just clubs, and that's basically just the different sections of clubs that we have and showing them how they can get involved inside of engineering as well as outside of engineering so that we can express that there is a balance between engineering in both in terms of your workload as well as your extracurriculars. Finally, after they're done with this whole app, we really want to get their feedback, and we really want to be hearing from them and getting their opinions so they can contact us with any questions or opinions that they might have as well. The whole point of this app is really just to get them involved and get them, if we aren't there to give them a tour in person, we want them to still have that opportunity to learn about engineering and see what might fit for them. So yeah, that's about it. Any questions?
right.
Thanks.
Excellent. All right. So this is my app. To choose who goes next, so everyone had to have an icon for their app. My students might recognize elements of this from their first assignment, which was a game to play Big Ten Blitz. But it'll stop on someone's icon, and that's whose turn it is to go. Hopefully my app won't crash. I'll be very embarrassed. Penn State hockey. That's it. Ben.
I have my PowerPoint on the flash drive.
Okay.
Oh, we can kill that one. And I'm going to just be using the overhead.
Oh, yeah. So, you're going to be using
the
document camera? Okay. Hopefully your thing's going to fit because we already have. Oh no. Well, let me load it first. Which is it?
Okay, and ComSci 490, 497 at the top. That one.
In here?
Yeah. Oh, never mind, I might be back.
We're going to need to pull this out.
Okay.
Yeah, so. Can I pull this out now?
Yeah.
I don't know
if it's gonna. I think it keep it open just as local.
I need to.
Okay, hello, I'm Ben Grablitz. I work for the Penn State hockey team, which gave rise to my interest in making a Penn State hockey app. I'm the video logger. They do streams of the games and I log the goals and scoring chances, etc. So the goal of my app was to take what is on the website and transfer it to native iPhone views. The tabs that I covered are the schedules with the box scores, the team roster with an additional detail view for player info, stats for both the skaters and the goalies. You can get directions to the Greenberg Ice Rink. There's news with a detail view for looking at the news either within Penn State's own or the hockey site's own website or an extended passing just URL address, and Twitter for the PSU men's hockey and Hockey Valley Twitter accounts. I'll demo this before I go back. I can talk about that. Okay, so do we zoom in? Let's make sure that's
You can also zoom in on the display.
okay, that's fine. If anyone's interested, the Smurfs and the Killer apps are very entertaining. Okay, so let me kill this first. Okay, so when it first loads, it loads up your first tab, which I have at default as schedule. It does occasionally take a while depending on the connection. So here you have sorted by month, starting from the first month of games to the national tournament this year. I think it's in Cleveland. For any completed game, if you click on the cell, it will load in a web view the box score. For the sake of simplicity, I just took their HTML and passed it into a web view. And so you can zoom in, look at, scoring summaries, penalty summaries, overall stats, and whatnot. For incompleted game, or for not yet played games or games that don't have box scores up, there's no detail to display. Direction. I set it up so that it sends the information to the Google Maps app. If not, it opens it up in Safari at Google Maps, maps.google.com. So if you leave the text field empty, it should just use your current location. Apparently not, because it's saying we're 41 miles away, or 41 minutes away. And it thinks we are in Milcher. Was this your place, Josh? Are you in Knoll School, Curtin?
I did not.
You didn't do that? Okay, well, I apologize for that. That should work. It usually does. That's embarrassing. All right, let's just IST. All right. So it just passes it to Google Maps, and you can start routing it and it'll follow the directions. After that, there's statistics. For the sake of viewer pleasure, I have them as separate table views for each of the statistics you can view. And same with the goalie stats, and there's a pager. Roster is sorted by name, number, year, or position. There is also a search bar, so if I want to find, let's say, Rich O'Brien, I click on the cell, it should take me to Rich's detail view, and this is a scrollable web view with their career stats with the Icers. Oops. Last two, news. This goes back, I think, 13 months. And if you click on Penn State, it'll open up the Penn State's news article. And if you open up a non-Penn State Icers webpage, it'll take you to that website. Finally, there's Twitter feeds. And all the tabs are replaceable. You can interchange the location of the tabs so that if you'd rather not have directions in the main four and rather have Twitter, you can replace that, and it'll store that information, store the order of the tabs. There we go. Okay, so they're sorted by date, just like Twitter does it. And if you click on the cell, it takes you to the tweet, and if there's a link, it'll take you out to Safari to view it. And sometimes, in this one, I think takes you to YouTube overall in the end. So, okay, so switching back. I don't want to scroll out. Okay. Last but oops. Sorry. Okay, well, I'll just make it so it's visible. Possible additions. Now that the Icers are becoming a D1 team, they'll become the, I guess, Penn State Nittany Lion hockey team. I would have to upgrade it to the Go PSU Sports site. I could other things include Facebook, player Twitter feeds, even though the players probably won't like that. So, and coaches probably also. Live radio and live video. They're both available online. I just, in the amount of time, could not find how to get. I don't think either of them are available mobilely without some sort of app at this point. And the live video isn't in a format that iPhones can process mobilely. That's on our end, not the website's end. And last but not least, fan interaction between the app users. So that's my app. I hope you enjoyed it. Any questions?
So why did one of those tables you used was kind of slow to load for the players or something?
The Twitter?
No, that I know because you're going online. But even before that, you seen slow loading.
That's probably was just a bad connection at the time,
okay.
And it's all variable. I've noticed sometimes it loads in a second, sometimes it takes 10 seconds.
All right. Thank you.
Dr. Hanning?
Yes.
Isn't there a cable, a VGA cable that you can connect to the iPhones, iPods to project?
I know on the latest the iPad 2 there is. I don't know what these. If maybe the iPhone. I don't know the. Anyone remember? Does the 4S have it? 4S has it. We're not quite up to the state of the art, I guess.
I was looking for one last week. That's the reason why I was curious.
Oh, so we didn't kill it. All right. Next up. Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Two.
Losing points.
App does
I know. All right. It just wants to do Ben.
Very well, hi, I'm Ben Groblitz.
Oh, jeez. This worked last night.
Welcome to our world.
Yes. Penn State Eco Car.
Do you have my slides on there?
Yep.
Hi everyone, I'm Josh Seltzer. I'm here to present Penn State Eco Car 2. Okay. How do I go back?
Arrows.
Left arrow, maybe?
Left arrow.
I'm trying. It's not doing.
Do you have an animation or something on that?
What's that?
Do you have an animation or something going on in that first one?
I don't think so. All right. So I'm here to present to you guys Penn State Eco Car. All right. Anyway, Penn State, for those who don't know, Penn State Eco Car, Eco Car in general is a competition among 15 different universities in North America to build a fuel-efficient car. So Penn State is one of those participating campuses. And so I have a friend in there, and I had suggested maybe making an app for them, and they loved that idea. So what I put together for the class is an app that kind of it's an informational app. It's for for people interested in the group and current members. On the other slide, I also was going to detail why I made it, and it's for like I said, current members and prospective members, and also when. We are trying to get on the App Store. I've never put something up on there, so I don't know what the approval process is or how long that takes. But we're shooting for January to get it up, so look for that on the App Store. And can you throw over the? All right. So I'm just gonna go through a little demo of it. So here's like the main screen. You have like nine different icons. You choose the pictures to go to those. So here's the About, which this just goes to the home page and grabs just kind of the main view of the home page. So this is just kind of details what EcoCar is and what Penn State's trying to do. The second one here are the blog posts. So on the website they have a list of blog entries. So this kind of lists all of them by date and title. And say you click on one, it gives you the text. Also, something I worked on was adding blog posts, but because the site was getting spammed so much, they had to shut it off. I don't know why, it was just random spamming, but it does work though. So there's the blog entries. Also, a big part of EcoCar is they have a lot of sponsors. There's EcoCar sponsors, and then there's Penn State specific sponsors. So here's a list of all those, and has a little image for them. And also, if you click on the cell, you will be able to go to their homepage. So there's all the main sponsors, and then here's the Penn State specific sponsors. So if you click on one, it will open their homepage. You can browse around and zoom in. All right, moving on. Another big part of Penn State EcoCar, they have a lot of posts on Twitter and Facebook. So a great way to learn about the group and to see what they're doing is going to those sites. So here's the Facebook feed, which just lists I think their last 20 or 40 so posts by date, and you can just see what they're up to and click on the links and view the videos or whatever they're posting. So it's a great way to learn about the group. You got the same thing here with Twitter. These are their last 20 Twitter posts. If there's a link in the Twitter post, you can click on that and it'll open that link. I'm not sure what this one was, but so here's a post they made, I guess, about a smarter planet here. So there's the Twitter feeds. They post a lot of YouTube videos. They have member specific YouTube videos where they do interviews. So here's a great way to see that. So this just opens up their YouTube page in a mobile Safari view, and you can go through and look at all their videos, their latest videos. The team, this is just a list of all the team members. So far it's not all of them because I haven't gotten all the bios and stuff for everybody from the group leaders, but say you can click on, say, Matt here. Oh, that was a bad example. So Garrett here. Alright, so we'll load their picture, and then it gives you a little bio about them that you can scroll through here, read who that is and stuff. And if they have provided me an email address, you can hit send email, and it will bring up this dialog where you can just send them a quick email. Also, if they have a video, click the video link. It goes right to their specific video for their interview. Moving on, one of the biggest parts of EcoCar is the car itself. So for this year, marks the first year of EcoCar 2. And they haven't really announced the car design or anything yet. So what I did was I just took their old design for now. In February they will announce the new design, and I'll use that. So what happens is you come to this screen, and then you rotate the device, and it will switch over to a picture of the car, and you can click on these red dots here and say you want to, and then it tells you all about what kind of went into the car. So there's the brakes, the charge port, kind of just gives you a little bit of information. And in the future, we could add more things to this too. But that's a pretty cool feature to look at, what went into making the car. And last but not least, there is just a quick quiz. You can just answer some of these questions, and once you're done, I'm not going to go through and do the whole quiz. You can go to the bottom and submit that, and it will give you give you some feedback, and it gives you the right answers too. So also, from the bottom of the app, at any time, you can click this button here, and it goes right to the home page. So that's Penn State EcoCard 2 app. If you guys have any questions. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you with your bio page.
Mhm.
You wrote that. Now, obviously, any thought and planning and talking with them about them writing their own bio page and linking to it?
Oh, you mean like the team pages?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, well, what happened was I just had them write. They wrote this up and gave it to me, and I put it in the app. In the future, it would be, pretty simple to just grab it off the internet if they have it on the site or something. But yeah, these all were given to me. I got all the pictures and stuff and just load that in. So, any other questions? All right, thank you.
All right. Dare I try this again? Meet me there. Daniel. Oh, I crashed.
And actually submit a PowerPoint. Sorry.
Okay.
I have it on a flash drive.
Oh, okay. Where is it?
It's under my stuff.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Daniel Gilbert, and I made the Meet Me There app. It's designed to help people get together for basically any reason whatsoever. Initially it was intended for basically social gatherings like friends, but it can also be applied, I realize, to business meetings or interviews or anything with the proper features. Currently, it uses Bluetooth to connect with nearby phones. You both start up the app, and it'll actually just connect straight away. It actually isn't too useful to be able to do this from short distances with Bluetooth. However, the intended use was with Wi-Fi to allow invitations from your contact list and broadcasts out to much further locations. However, right now it only communicates with nearby phones. It currently has a small chat room that allows communication between the party members once they've been connected, and it also will log activities made by party members with the app. And what you can do with the app is it allows you to search for locations, and it'll gather all the locations of everybody in the group that it's gotten into the party connected, and it'll find a rough center between them, and then it'll search from that location for nearby places based on a simple key search. And it also, with these found locations, it allows you to save them and share them between party members. So once somebody chooses a location, other party members can also see it, and it also allows a brief like and dislike system to let people decide if they want to go there or not. I need a simulator. I'm not. I'm not actually going to show a connection because that doesn't work with the simulator. However, the intent. Okay then. If there were a contact there, I could have invited them and they would have been added to the group. It can't force them to join your party, obviously, so it just adds a pending, waiting for this person to join symbol until they do get in, and then once they finally do connect, it will it'll put them in the group correctly. The chat log is pretty simple. It just posts it there, and if anyone else posts, obviously it'll also be added there. It'll also post notifications if other people do something with the other part of the app, although it won't post your own notifications. What? Why is it? That should be a map. I'm not quite sure why that's doing that. Okay, map's not working. Does this not have internet connect? Maybe there's just nowhere that starts with a Y nearby.
It should be connected.
Okay then. Well, that's pretty much the only thing that should have worked. So, had that worked, you would have seen a list of things you can choose from with a small add icon that puts them in a second table of the selected things that lets you use a small choice, I like, dislike, or don't care about the location. But I guess that doesn't work on the simulator right now for some reason. It spotted itself. Okay. Back to the PowerPoint slide.
3 swipe to the
Is it
right.
maybe because you said to use your current location and the iPhone simulator?
No, the iPhone simulator has a current location. It's
Right.
somewhere in San Francisco.
Yeah, I know that, but what would happen if you said not now?
I said yes, didn't I?
Yeah, you said use your current location, but what if you would have said not now?
Oh, well, then that aspect would basically be disabled. You can still sit in the party and communicate, and you can actually see the other locations other people post. However, you're not going to be giving any of your friends your location through the party.
I just mean in terms of loading the map.
Your
Your map wasn't loading.
If it can't get your location, I think it will actually. If it can't get your location, it still will find the center from everyone else in the party, since it uses that instead of your own location to center the map. The intent was for it to have more than just a single generic meeting type. It was supposed to allow social, business, interview, meal, any kind of meeting you like, and it would modify the options you had based on that. It also could be it could be set to actually have more than a single meeting running at a single time, and instead it will actually allow you to organize and plan meetings and set them up in a list so that you can plan in advance, like say an interview. It also could very easily be set to help you navigate to locations once they've been selected. There's a API to do that. It also should have much better searching than simple keyword search. And that is Meet Me There.
I have a question. If you have several groups going around, are you able to look at current meetings and say, oh, I'm actually running late for this one group, but I forgot where the spot is for meeting. So I can just say, oh, there are 3 groups here, but I want the one here, so it'll display
What are you asking?
all the various groups
Right.
that you have.
The different meetings set up, right?
But you can sort of sort
Right.
based on some sort of timeline you have.
Right.
Can you do that, or are you?
Well, right now it only has a single meeting anyway.
No, but the theory is, can you?
Yeah, you could. You could very easily
Exactly.
sort that. Yeah, if it kept a list, there'd be, of course, you could sort it and search between them. You could also have it set to actually warn you that, oh, you're going to be late for this meeting. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Yes?
When I add someone from my address book that
Mhm.
I want to meet with, how do they get notified of that? How do they
There is a means of going through the Apple push notification service to, if they have the app, they will be basically told, oh, someone's inviting you like that. And the alternative is, if they don't have the app, it can send them a text message It doesn't actually require that they be connected to you through the app. If they can't, it's still possible for you to, well, you can't get their location, but you can still plan a meeting, and then once you choose a location, it can be set to text them with the information they need.
Do they need to be on the main screen, or would this run as a background service that if it was on their iPhone that would automatically notify them versus having to be
typically
directly in that app to actually...
Does the push notification require that the app be running? I think it doesn't. No, it doesn't require the app be running. You have to have run it at least once so that it can say, yes, I want to be notified like this. But the app does not need to be running.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually a very convenient service.
Icons, like little red circles that have like a 1 when you receive a text message.
Yeah. That's, I guess I was...
I think, have you ever been told, the thing will pop up and say, oh, there's an update from Apple, right?
Right.
That's how it works. You'd say, oh, there's a party invite, click OK, and it automatically brings up the app.
So if you click on that, it's going to bring up your app and then automatically connect them? Or
yes.
Siri, that would be the goal. Okay.
Anything else?
Great.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I hesitate to run this again, but we'll try. Food and dining.
So I'm Wee, and this is Scott. And the app that we made is the Penn State Food Services app. So the objectives of the app is to keep track of calorie consumption for the Penn State campus eateries. And then we put existing eatery information in a readable mobile format. And we utilize various mobile features. And the audience for our app would be just any student who's dining on campus. Because sometimes they always want to know what's like at the eateries, but without physically going there, that's really hard. So we want to make it possible for them to do that just through their iPhones. So this is the part that I personally worked on, is the calorie counter. It keeps track of the foods they eat, the calories, fat, total fat, trans fat, carbohydrates, protein, and all that good stuff. And I also added a feature so that you can add your own custom foods other than just the campus menu foods.
The part that I worked on was listing all the dining locations and their hours of operation, their menus, and their locations on a map. All this information is online already. It's in their website. There's a database. We're just basically pulling the same information and putting it in a more readable mobile format.
Right. So when you run the app, this will be the main screen. It automatically loads up to the current date, which is Thursday, and you can click the back arrow to go back to any given day. If you had a previous foods you ate, there would be a list of the foods, but because there isn't, and you can only go up to the maximum of today, so that users can't like add food from the future, because that would be weird. So I guess first I'll show you just adding a food is as simple as pressing the plus button. Then you choose either the University Park Eateries, the other Commonwealth campuses, or your own custom foods. So first we'll pick a University Park Eatery. And I guess, let's say we eat at Finley Dining Commons. It brings up a menu. You can pick from breakfast, lunch, dinner, and well, I don't think Finley has late night, but if it did, it would bring that up too. So let's go to breakfast. So there's a table view with the headers of the different eateries. There's Roxy's, the Big O. I guess that's all for breakfast. So let's say you ate bacon. You just click on it. It brings up a selector to choose how many servings of bacon you ate. So you ate 3 servings of bacon. You can simply add it. Keeps track of that. and this is custom foods. You can add your own food. The only required fields are the food name and calories. Everything else is optional. If you forget to add a food name, it tells you. So let's say you just ate food A. And that's like 100 calories. You can simply just type that in, and then you hit the add button. It adds it. When you're in the custom foods, by clicking on it, it brings up a nutritional table of values. And same with the log. If you're in the log view, it brings it up for the total servings. So 3 servings of bacon is 306 calories, 23.7 grams of fat, 7.8 grams saturated fat. If you hit the edit button while in here, you can edit the number of servings you ate. So you can up it. Updates. And you can now show you how to add custom foods. It's the same concept. So food A, like 10 servings. So now there's bacon in food A. It gives you your total calories that you consume for this day. And that's my part.
All right, and the part I did was mostly working with the database to get all the information about the different eateries on campus. So here you just have a table of all the campuses pulled from the database and all the dining locations at each campus. So if we go to Findlay, here it'll show the hours for the different eateries. That's pulled from the database, and it will also give you the menu. Again, you can switch between meals. You can also change the date. If we want to look at tomorrow's, so update it. Look at all your different meals. There's also a map, which will use your location. I'm not sure where it's simulating right now, but it'll show that location on the map. That's about it. Oh, I'd also like to thank Steve and Mike for getting all the data services worked out for us. That helped a lot. Does anyone have any questions?
Have you thought of using like your location to sort? Oh, since I'm in IST, the closest eatery I have is like west.
Yeah, that was something I had in mind, but didn't get around to implementing that. And I mean, there's only location data in there for those like 7 different places, so I figured you're probably going to know what's closest already, but that could be something that will be implemented, yeah.
Does the log tab give you any way to get like a summary of what you ate for the day, or
what, like total?
That has your total
like,
consumption or anything?
Not currently, just all the calories. But for each individual, you have to click on each one. That's something I might implement, but it'd probably be a separate table that can keep track of day, week, and month, and that's something in the future, possibly. Yes.
You guys plan on putting this on the store? It's pretty cool.
Potentially. We'll see what food services has to say about it.
I also thought we brought in maybe expanding upon it, adding a odometer in it as well. It's tracking where you're going to also tell you how many calories you burn walking around campus.
That's true.
Yeah.
Approaching your readers. I mean, if you're getting a total calorie count, well, how many calories am I also burned? So maybe I can have twice as a bacon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Questions? All right, thank you very much. We'll go with that one. I apologize. My app shouldn't crash.
Cody in 4.3.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Matthias Seibert, and I created this app called Input Manager. A little background on it. I do a lot of work with the School of Theater and their live productions, so I kind of have some experience doing sound and other things. And what this app is basically a way to manage sound systems. So first we'll talk about what a sound system is. And Curtis recognizes this picture.
I do.
And basically the idea is they get very complicated very fast, and we need some sort of way to keep track of which microphone is where it's going, how it gets there, and all this stuff. And so we have, like literally hundreds of inputs that you need to keep track of. So how do we do that? Right now, spreadsheets, not very good. You end up retyping a lot of information at the same time if you do multiple shows, which is often, and you have very simple, basic stuff that you have written down that's not very helpful in the long run. And so most of the time you just end up keeping it in your head or not remembering it at all and looking in the dark for where your stuff is plugged in. So those are the problems with spreadsheets. They don't remember any information. Every time you create a show, you have to make everything from scratch. There's not a standard. Everyone has a different way of laying out a spreadsheet. And they're too general. They don't have any specific support for what we're trying to do. So with that, I'll show you a demo. And this is an iPad app, not an iPhone app. So basically that lets us see a little more information, which is good. And eventually it'll be scaled down to the iPhone. Yeah, I think I can make it smaller. There you go. All right, so I have some shows loaded so I can show you most of the features of my app in a limited amount of time. We'll start with this show, which was one of the more recent productions for the School of Theater. We start at a list of inputs here for the show. As you can see, there's a lot of them. And each input has a view, which you can set. And say we want to type what microphone this view has. We have a list of microphones that we have in our database, so if you're creating a lot of different shows and you don't want to type the mic every single time, you have a smart database. But for this one, we don't have that saved, so just create a new microphone and hit done. And then for every other input that we have, we can use that. In addition, we have some other information that we might want, just what type of stand. In this case, a wireless mic doesn't need a stand because it's being worn. Any accessories you might need, or cabling, just information that you might want to have. Information you might want to have that would be hard to enter, making new columns all the time and everything. Other information, the placement of a mic is pretty important in terms of what you get in sound, and it might be nice if you're a designer and you're not actually in the band putting the mic where it needs to be. You might want to have a picture set so whoever's doing that can see that and set it up correctly. Furthermore, we want to see where these connections are going. So they go from the input to a patch is what this is called. They're called snakes. I don't know why they're called snakes, but they look like snakes, I guess. And so we start off on this snake, and we have all of our inputs from this snake to this other patch point. In this case, it's called an AI, and it's another type of snake. And we can just say we're connecting 1 to 1, 2 to 2, and it just keeps track of what is going to what. And as you can see, this snake only has 24 inputs, but this one has 40. So we have a second one. And we patch here to there to there. And it's just sort of a easy way to view what goes where. And as you can see here, this snake has an output to AI4. AI1, sorry. And actually that should say 1 and it says 4. Okay. And So yeah, this basically just keeps track of where everything is connected. In your inputs, back to here, we can also set where we want to plug the input in. I showed you the patch view first, so you kind of had an idea of it's a box that has lots of inputs. And so when you connect an input to a patch, you basically just get to see what channels you have open and set the connection there. And if you go back to patches, you see now Fred1 is connected to that snake. And now it's showing 1. I have no idea why. At the end of a chain, you have the console, which is basically where all the inputs eventually end up. Console is basically the same idea as a patch. You connect from a patch to a console. And so we have this AI, which we had some inputs into, and we just connect it to channels of our console. That's pretty much the first attempt at writing one of these. There's not actually an existing app that does anything like this, apparently. So this is kind of the first stab at creating an app that manages all this information. There's ways it could be improved, but for a first stab, kind of keeping all the data straight and together in a way that you can use, this is, I think, a good start. One other thing I mentioned about spreadsheets is you'll end up entering a lot of the same thing all the time. One thing I did is I had it, so if you created a mic, it would remember that mic. So if you go and you have 5 shows where you're using the same types of mics, you don't have to create that data all the time. And you can even save more than just the name. You can also save what it looks like, what type of microphone it is, certain options for the microphone, and just that sort of information that you might want to have and not have to recreate every time. So that's Input Manager. Any questions?
You said it was in its infancy. So my question would be only just for the database allowing, because I mean, you may have multiple of your Audix D6 mics and you're using all of them. But what happens if one of those goes bad? I know on a breakdown it can get so confusing. You set the bad mic beside you, but before you know it, somebody's picked it up and threw it in the box of the good mics, and all of a sudden you find that out when you get to your next show. When
yeah.
you've already set up that, oh crap, we have the bad mic up on stage.
Right. Well, you know, I guess an app is never going to stop someone from not reading a label or not marking a bad mic. But it does keep track of how many mics are in use. It doesn't display that right now, but it does keep track. If I use multiple Audix D6s, I'm going to have that information stored, okay, where you can see how many Audix D6s are in use, or if you're over your capacity or anything like that. So. Anything else? It's kind of a whirlwind demo, but.
All right, thank you.
Let's set it back to the iPhone.
All right, we'll try this. What do you want to do, Ben?
I want you to present. It's still there.
Well, maybe we ought to quit this. I'm getting too embarrassed. One more time. Okay, Carfix.
I do.
Did you give me slides?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mohammed Al-Bareki. I created the app called Carfix. So the idea behind the app is sometimes you get like maybe no signal somewhere, and you need to maybe change a spare tire or something, and like some people have no clue where to start with that or what they need, or your car doesn't run, you need to jump start it, but you have no clue what to do. I put like some step-by-step guide in this, and like with a map, some of the local places that could help, like a rental place or a repair shop. Three fingers. Okay, so I have two tabs in my app. One for the map services, which gives you the location. So when you hit the map view, it will ask you for your current location, and that's not working, just like the previous time. It actually like looks for close places for rental and repair and car wash. So in case you saw a lot of places around you and you don't want to tap each one to know what it is or like what's the address there, I put like a table of listing that will give you actually the listings. And there is no connection in here or something.
You're connected.
Oh, I don't know. That's supposed to also give you those listings with the addresses. Like let's say you always rent a car from Hertz. It shows you like the names right away with the address, and they're color coded. So if you're looking for a car repair, you'll just look for anything in the table with red. That's supposed to be the same in the map. Okay, for the simple fix, I only have two as of now. One shows you how to jump start a car. Shows you what you need, like the cables and a running car or a battery. Have a step-by-step guide on how to do it. If you slide it, it will show you the next steps. And the same thing for the spare tire. Shows you like what you need and the steps as well. Yeah, so that was my app. Any questions?
You should try connecting to a different network. I put up a network.
Well, we can do.
The problem is it's not finding a location. Trying to find stuff that's close to that location. If you're not finding a location, then it's something.
Yeah.
No, in the hardware, you can simulate one setting on like that purple pin. That's the only error when it knows where you are.
I mean,
your links are working.
Is the simulation for if you go to debug up top there, we'll go to location.
Make sure we're connected here. All right, we're connected. All right, so that's good. Try it again.
Go to debug and then location.
Well,
On the top.
Debug.
Very top. Yeah.
Quick custom location. That's right over Cupertino, California.
Okay. Okay. Any questions?
Sorry about that. Any questions from Mohammed? All right, thank you. Okay, that was schedule. Where's Ben? Here's Ben. Do you have slides? Ben's.
Hello everyone, my name is Benjamin Carrero. I work on the Penn State schedule of courses. It's a simple application. It lets the users to be able to check the class details, the open seats, the professor, the classroom. It's a simple and clean interface, as you can see on the screenshot. That's what it looks like. All the information is preloaded, even the seats, but you could also refresh the seats, because that's the main thing that we look at when we look at the classes. The process that I used to build this was to get the information for the classes from the Penn State server. I wrote this program in C# for Windows. Once I generate that file that Xcode was able to read it, I went and actually created the app on Xcode on Macintosh. Some future improvements that I will add is add a search bar. As of now, all I have is the indexing of the first letter. When I have this feature list where the user can add the classes to a list and see how to build his own schedule for the semester. Also, I'm gonna have a schedule generator, which I'm gonna call Schedulizer. What it'll do, it'll take care of the conflicts, like the time conflict between the classes and the days. I will have some social media integration for like Twitter and Facebook, so if you want to share your schedule with your friends, you could do it. Elion support, so it'll add your class right to your schedule, so you don't have to go to Elion actually and on the computer and add it to your schedule. Also notes, if you want to add a note to a class, maybe I don't want to take it, but I have to, you could add that. And also a calendar, we will show you like the week calendar, where your classes are with the classroom and the time. Okay. So as you can see, it's very clean. Everything is preloaded. So if you don't have internet access, you can still access any class and be able to look at the details with all the sections. You could also refresh the seats. So to show you that it works, I'll go to a comp sci class. So it shows seats at 0 here and 2. If I hit refresh, now you can see 13 and 1. So it shows you that it does work. Oh, sorry. So as of now, it only has the information from the spring 2012, which means that since everything is preloaded, it will have to be updated like every 4 months whenever the schedule of courses is updated on the server for Penn State. Let's see. So you can click any of the indexes. It will take you to the first letter. It's in alphabetical order, so it will take you to that letter. It's pretty simple, but you know, I got a lot of stuff in mind for the future if I end up implementing it. That's it. Any questions? Yeah.
So on the course detail page, you were listing the instructors, phone numbers, classrooms where the course is made. Is any of those live? Can you tap on them and bring up maps or emails or whatnot?
No, as of now, this is the exact same information that you see on the website.
Right, but like if I click 120, if you tap on 122 Pond, does it bring up a map?
No, it won't do nothing now. As of now, all it does is just show you the information. Okay. So that'll be something to be added in the future.
And then when you were pre-populating this, was that, how did you do that? Did you just green scrape from the registrar site, or what did, how did that happen?
Everything is preloaded. When I did that, you mean when I gathered the data?
Right.
So what I did is I created a HTTP request with this Penn State server. I'll get all the HTML code for the website, and then I'll parse through all the HTML and just get the data that I needed. Any more questions?
So how much easier would it have been if you had gotten nice XML data from the university instead of HTML?
Oh, it would have been really, really easy. Just to gather the data, it took me 3 weeks, and it was on Windows, which is easier for me. But I know if I would have done it like straight on Xcode for the iPhone, it would have been like probably 2 months to do that, because it was a lot of data. And
The reason I ask is I'm working on a mobile schedule of courses for M.PSU for next semester.
Okay.
And there's some very specific requirements that have gone into that, so it's interesting to see how you went about it differently.
yeah, I mean, right now it's simple. Like there's a lot of ways in the app could be improved, and also like there's some classes that they have like notes or the section information. So when you click on them, you don't bring like a pop-up window, like a little window on the same app. That'll be involve a little more of work for me to do that. So I didn't end up implementing nothing. So sometimes it just says view here. I'm just not showing that because there's no point for me to show that. Any more questions?
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Why don't we just work our way back through the remaining people to present? Take Chris and Jack.
My slides are on Dropbox.
Didn't I get them?
Oh, you might have gotten them.
I don't know if I zipped them up.
You may have them.
They're not here, right?
I guess not. It probably would have said crew.
If that's us, that may be it. I think
Let's see who these are.
Meet me there.
Okay.
Who would have thought that?
I think they're on Dropbox.
Yeah. All right. Excuse us a minute while we.
Does anybody know any good jokes?
Where are you here?
Oh, we emailed it to you.
You emailed it to me.
Yeah, because it was down when we.
Oh shoot! I don't know.
If we're online, we can jump on Dropbox and scoop it up if that's right.
I mean, how badly do you need the slides? I guess you need them.
We could just talk about
cute,
it.
but
They're cute. So let me just blank this for a second. Technical difficulties here. Let me.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice app. I like the
I know. Yeah, we wanted to go with a simple feel here.
Black screen was
Is that the name of your app? Black Screen?
Black screen.
Right, yeah.
It displays a black screen.
So when you're trying to go to sleep.
$9.99.
Exactly.
Except for the card that
Right.
says black screen.
Right.
It's like the, I just read a report where, this page left intentionally blank. Somebody wrote this page intent almost.
You've just received an email.
Almost. There's stuff there.
That's almost intentionally blank.
I'm not seeing it.
If we jump on Dropbox, we'd be able to just scoop it up with them. Or, I mean, we can go without it if you. I know we're crunched for time.
That's right. It's
Did you?
I sent it again around noon.
And you think the PowerPoint?
The PowerPoint probably wasn't.
Let me see what's on my key.
That would be mine.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Add bundle.
That's the project.
Oh, are you looking for the project one?
Let's see what I put on here. This Crew Zip that I downloaded. Was it in?
That's 1204 today.
That's perfect, because Archive had my other one that you didn't get working.
But that's just the project, right?
Yeah, that's a good start. Do you have it on there?
The project should be there.
The new one. Okay.
So the presentation,
Dropbox, I'm telling you, that's where it's at.
All right, so that's what you need a browser for that?
Yeah, and I can just sail away if you want.
Okay.
There we go.
Not even.
Alright. I can go as fast as the internet.
Morgan. Oh yeah, you got it too. That's right. That's the beauty of it.
The old surprise typing. Alright, now we are talking font size. Presentation.
Beautiful.
And as fast as I can press Alt-Enter, we will be ready to go. Did I download it?
Yeah. It's over here on the right.
Oh, you gotta help me out. I'm not a Mac. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
There you go.
That's it. Great.
All right. Guys, have a good break.
All right, and we are back. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed your short break there.
Intermission.
Wonderful.
So Jack and I are part of a Christian group on campus called Cru. And there are dozens of campuses throughout the nation that this is a club on campus.
There's even, I mean,
there's hundreds, really. So, you can go to the next slide. Why on earth would people want to use this app? Well, it's far-reaching. We wanted to make an app that could be leveraged across multiple sites in the country so that someone from Virginia Tech or someone from University of California, Berkeley, or someone from Penn State could access this app and use some features that are universal, but also some that are specific to their campus and their location.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the direction we went with this is, first thing we wanted to do is we had two choices when we made the app. We were going to make one tailored for our group here at Penn State, or we were going to try to make one that could morph and work for any group that has Cru. And since we're like a nationwide ministry, it's even international, but we thought we'd put ourselves in a smaller box for the first bite. And because it's a nationwide ministry, we thought, how cool would it be if we did work for everybody in the whole nation and tried to get a fundamental app working for everyone so that they could have like something to platform off of. And so that's what we did. There's this one big website that contains all of these sub campuses. There's over, I think there are, there's a little over 3,000 campuses in the nation that have a Campus Crusade for Christ ministry at that campus. And then of those, there was about 1,000 of them that had a website. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to take all those sites and pull them out and then kind of flush them into our app. And then what we were going to do is we were going to look for some keywords and kind of cut it up. And we were going to like try to get some of the common media that all of these things have in some of the common platforms like YouTube or Facebook, and kind of like get those apart and actually put them in one place so you can log on and take a look. And it's a big fish, so we wanted to kind of hit it from all angles, and we realized how much it was, and we started with the media first. So here we are. So let's see, platform standardization. We pretty much hit everything.
Yeah.
Next slide.
And we like art, so we wanted to make it an enjoyable user experience as well.
There you go.
And like Jack was saying, we wanted to utilize available resources so that, like he was saying, with the main website, every campus that had a website, able to scrape information from there. Developer app plus the personal web space. So you want to talk about the extra app that we incorporated as well?
One of the things we noticed when we were setting this up is some big hurdles that you go through when you're scooping up this much information from this many places. So what ended up happening to collect all the information from all the places dynamically every time. That when the user loads it up, if he had to load in all the information, though he wouldn't have to store any on his device, it would take like over 20 to 30 minutes to load in all this information, which is just unrealistic. So what we did is we made a partner program that me and Chris have that we can periodically refresh, and we'll run this, and what it'll do is it'll take all their information, it'll scrape it all down, and it'll bring it all into my personal Penn State web space. So we're kind of going small scale right now, but I have my own little virtual server that I set up that will kind of take all this information, culminate it, give you some pointers to some links where you'll need to go in the future, and it gives you the whole feel, and it's a really good way to jump off of one space and make it still pretty strongly dynamic. So let's see here. And that's, okay, so this last slide, that's one of the things I really liked about this is the response to change. Because we set it up this way, they'll never have to get a patch if New York is no longer a state and they become their own country. if we run our program and it'll scoop from the server, this app will refresh as soon as the parent program refreshes, which is if it takes off, obviously, all the time. Right. So yeah, so we'll just hit the next slide.
Okay. And so what we noticed, one of the things, again, with leveraging all of those campuses, one of the things that it does is, as we'll show in the demonstration in a few moments, is that it will load a custom web view for each particular campus. So it's just opening a web view. What we found was that a lot of campuses had mobile capabilities, so that if you're opening their website with a mobile device, it will load a special mobile view. We also, as you'll see, we received information from various feeds. We were able to get videos that were specific to a number of campuses. So depending on the campus you choose, you'll be able to get the YouTube videos that that campus had put up on their website. And there's plenty of room for growth. The way that we designed it, we can go in multiple directions, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes after the demonstration.
Yeah. All right, I need hand power now. All this programming and we can't alt tab, huh?
Actually, we should be over here.
Perfect. All right, let's see if we can find it. Crew, there we are. This is a new logo that Crew had decided upon in some important press conference this year that is going to be standardized for the entire movement. That's a cute book that I made instead. But here you can see this list is actually bouncing off of my site, so there's only one request to the internet, and it's going to populate all this information, but I will be updating that by running this partner app that I stuck on the other side, kind of like a developer tool, if you will. And it's cool, so that'll refresh, this is actually being all pulled dynamically from one website that dips into thousands and thousands of others. So if we scroll down, you can see we go from state to state. You can see all the different campuses, and these are all actually campuses that have a Campus Crusade ministry and have a website that's linked to them. Where do we want to end up, Chris?
Let's just go to Berkeley for now.
Berkeley. Are we close?
Yeah.
Is it up here?
California.
California. Berkeley. Yeah, that's a good one. All right. So this is the university. We like their website.
So
yeah, this is the University of California and their Berkeley space. Let's see how the internet's doing.
Yeah.
It's a little slow.
So as I was saying, the first tab that opens up is just a web view of that particular campuses. So in a moment, I'll show you another group that you click, and it gives you a different mobile view. This second tab, videos, we can get to in a moment. These are videos that are specific to the University of California, Berkeley. So if you were to go to another campus, you would see a different list of videos appearing. With this simulator, I have my iPhone here, but with this simulator, you can't display YouTube videos. So if we had the time, we could show you on my iPhone how the YouTube videos appear. And if you just select each one, this is where the video would appear in this box. You just select it, and that would bring up the web view of the YouTube.
When you run this on a device, because it won't be pushed through the Xcode simulator, all these actually will have thumbnails, and they'll have little play buttons on them, and they'll have that first splasher that you see when you load a YouTube video. And you actually, if you click it, it's really pretty cool. It will actually just jump right into the you know how when you click a YouTube video, it comes into the black screen, and then you have the nice interface. The way YouTube works with this is if you kind of get the thumbnail in the web view, it'll jump right in there. Actually, I think Chris is making it happen for us here. It loaded pretty well.
Yeah, it's all good.
Great. All right.
Great.
All right.
Dark. Yeah.
First,
I can,
my OCD's kicking in. Let me just.
I could increase the brightness.
Perfect. That's what I wanted to do.
Go ahead. Still too dark? I could just increase the brightness really quick.
Yeah, crank it up.
Let's just crank that. Okay.
Oh, wait, a little less.
Too bright?
A little less, yeah.
How about that?
Like
Better?
the sun or nighttime? Yes, perfect.
Okay, great.
I think that'll go well.
And so, here we go, we'll go back. And yeah.
Great. So this is that same list that we were on here. You can kind of see it, actually. A little mirrored in the background. Yeah, that's here. You've got another. These are videos that the people in that ministry that they made independent. These are just college kids making videos, trying to do some outreach stuff, and so they have some pretty spunky names. Just whatever. This is what they wanted to put on there. So,
so this is just like a video for, say, a fall retreat event that that particular campus had.
And then
we don't know anything about this video, but it's probably fine. But this is just to show you.
That's the beauty of the campus ministry. Usually you're all right when showing videos on a demo. Yeah. But we'll find out. Here we go.
Just to show you that it works. So
obviously it won't sing too loud because we've got the device playing all the noise. But yeah, as soon as it buffers, it'll just go. I think maybe is it running already?
Yeah, I mean, it's just buffering.
Yeah. I think we don't have good internet in this room or something.
But the video that plays fine. There you go. You got some
I'll show you a
music
trick.
And everything too.
That's tilt. See? It's tilted on the screen.
Oh, okay.
See, yeah. There we go. But yeah, for the interest of time, we'll just keep rolling on.
Keep rolling. You got a second of play right there.
Here we go.
That's proof.
This one's cool. It does work on the simulator. This is QuickTime, so apple to apple, you can imagine that it would work. So this is a separate list of information. This is there's a site called crewpress.com, and they have a lot of like popular. Usually they're video based. Sometimes they're podcasts. Sometimes they're just stories. And what you can end up doing is. We scraped some of the information from this site and kind of brought it in with the local information. This is a national website that has some of the information for the whole nationwide ministry. Now, I don't know how to turn this sound on, but let's see if that works.
Make a pretty awesome smoothie.
But then right in there, these are nationwide videos that this site had made. Just campus-wide, just like nationwide ministry tools, things like that. Usually they're interviews with like kind of like a professor talking about this or that, some religious-based stuff. We actually know this guy, so that's why I picked the video. But anyways, here we are.
So yeah, the difference between the YouTube and these are that for the YouTube it was more of a personalized experience based on the campus that you're at, whereas this is more of a universal thing.
Yeah.
So everybody is going to get this particular part of the app.
We wanted to put a bunch of information. Here you go with the thumbnails. Now they're kind of set up the way they should be. We're kind of at the mercy of the internet, so if it's loading well, I think that's the way of the world here. And then this is one last little splasher that we thought was cool. There's this site called Bible Gateway, and it's like your online Bible. And for Christians, it's cool to get your daily fill up of the Lord. So we have our verse of the day. So this actually is an RSS feed from that website, and as they changed, it was really funny because me and Chris were working on this late last night. It was like 12:01, and as it passed 12 o'clock, the verse changed for us because it's the verse of the day, and we just thought it was so cool developing it, watching it just switch right before our eyes. But so every day this will come up with a new one, and yeah.
And one last thing, if you wanted to change the campus that you're at, you could just do this little thing here, and it takes you back, and then you can choose whatever you want. So.
And there you go. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's it. So, any questions?
I think we're all set.
Cool.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
How much of this do you want me to close?
Don't close. Leave it there.
All right.
Logan?
You have slides here? Yeah. I use the over keys to move the.
I think so.
No, it didn't. Okay. All right. Hi, I'm Logan Sermon. My app is Calorie Counter, kind of like the PSU food app earlier. Just some background on it, I guess. It's a little more generic. I'm programming just a web app, sort of like MyFitnessPal, if you've ever heard of it, in PHP on my own server. Well, it's not mine, but I pay for it. And this is just an app to go along with that and provide like a mobile interface. So the reason I chose this to develop, I've made a lot of web apps in the past and they all tank because it's really hard to get a popular website. So I figured if I made one healthy, there's a lot of people wanting to lose weight. Maybe it'll work out.
The competition for these types of websites is just my personal opinion. I don't like any of them, so I wanted to build a better one. And yeah, so for this final I chose to do the iPhone counterpart because every web app needs one and you can make a lot of money with that. So the features, you have to log in with an account, which will be just the same account that you use on the website. It's all synced up. It has a summary tab to keep track of how many calories you've eaten that day, and all the other stats too, not just calories, but everything. And then you can add foods by name, so all the foods are stored remotely. There's no data actually on the app, and as you search it, comes up with the list of foods matching your search, and you can just add them like that. So yeah, so for the future, I haven't actually finished the front end for the website. I ran into a lot of issues with that, but I just coded the back end, so the database is all there, and I coded the API so that the iPhone can actually talk to it and get all the data that it needs. And then more things for the app, saving like meals. If you eat like the same thing a lot, you can just tap that instead of adding every food individually. Barcode scanner. I didn't have time to implement that, but there's a library out there for it, so stuff like that. So, okay. So this is the app. Like I said, you need an account. I just made a test account for this. Oops. Okay. So I added some foods in here earlier. This is just the main page with today. So this is how many calories you have remaining. This is based on your BMR. I wanted to the actual calculation for this uses your activity level, they call it. It's like 1 through 5, but I didn't have time to implement that, so it just calculates your calories remaining as if you were sedentary all day and you burn 0 calories. So yeah, and then this nutrition label is the total of everything. Just all in one, so you can see how much you've eaten. Yeah. Okay. So the journal tab is these are the things the database isn't full yet. I just added the things that were in my room at the time to show that it works. But the good thing is, since it's all remote, you don't have to update the iPhone app. You know, you just add the things to the remote database, and it all works. So these each have a view with just that individually for Reese's Puffs. And the days, I don't think there was, I tested it yesterday, maybe the day before. Yeah, so this isn't my actual diet, but I was just adding things so you can go back and forth between days, see what you've eaten in the past. Okay, so for adding a food, I forget everything in here, so I'm just going to add Fruit Loops again because I like Fruit Loops. So you can just start typing and it'll narrow it down. Every time you type it, sends a request and updates the results from the server. And you can click that, and then this table is just everything that you've added right now, but it's not actually saved yet, so you can add multiple things. Like I can just go back here and add another food, and then when you hit save these to journal, it'll save all of them. So I'll just save that, and then that's the new one, and then this tab is updated to show that. And then so for settings, right now, like I said, I just used height and weight for BMR, so that's the only thing you can change right now. So in the future, I would add like your activity level and stuff like that, but this is all for now. And then logging out just logs you out. So that's it.
Very good. Questions?
Okay.
All right, thank you. Great.
Let me set up something first and smoother.
John,
Yes.
did you write the program that simulates this?
The simulator? No, that's an Apple. Probably not that good.
You were serious chance to scribble some points there.
Where's Safari?
Yeah, do you need that?
Oops.
Once he's going, let's see how's that.
Okay. Okay, so my name's Greg Schomer, and I did the Daily Collegian app. I just kind of wanted to do something that I could actually use, not just something that I can make money off of or whatever. So why did I make this? I know, like, I like to read the paper when I'm waiting for the bus every day, and recently it's been kind of hard to find a paper because of all the publicity it's gotten. So one day I just took my iPod and checked out the Daily Collegian website, and I realized it does not look good on an iPod. This is what it looks like. I mean, it's usable. You can definitely find everything you need to find, but you know, you have to pinch and zoom and have to kind of squint to see what you're trying to find. So my goal was to try and kind of make that look a little better and more fit for a mobile device. So that's why I chose that. So this app is not supposed to replace the website, the Daily Collegian website, and it's not supposed to replace the paper, but it kind of takes the best parts of both and puts them together. So the app kind of has parts that are not in the paper and are on the website, and vice versa. So I'll show it to you now. So this is it right here. Do we have internet? Okay. So this is the main screen, I guess, of the app. On the bottom here we have different sections of news in the paper. So we have just the regular news, sports, football, arts, and over here we have opinions, blogs, and classifieds. So in each one of these, each one of these tables, they're all sectioned off by what day the news came out. So you're not reading the same news over and over again. You know what day it came out. On the top right, you have a refresh button, so you can click and it refreshes stuff from the Daily Collegian website. On the top left over here, we have, so the paper uses the Campus Weather Service website to get information about forecasts and all that stuff. So this is an example of something that's not on the Daily Collegian website, the paper has. So I thought it was kind of important to put that in there. So, you know, it gives a little icon and it gives the temperature, and if you click on it, it opens up a modal view and you can get more information and see radar and all that good stuff. This is just the Campus Weather Service website. You can go back. So, in each one of these cells, this is kind of the title of it and a little glimpse at what the story is about. And you can click on it, and it's all nicely formatted and not messy, which is my main goal. So there's the title, you know, the author and everything, and it looks really nice. Let me go to a better one that has comments so I can demonstrate that. I know this one down here does. Yeah. Okay, so down here in the bottom right we have, I guess, the link. So you can click on that and it'll take you the actual article on the Daily Collegian website if you want to look at that, but I don't, so I'm not going to use that. Over here on the left we have the share button, so we can share this story to our friends or whatever over email and over Twitter. So Twitter thing is really cool. iOS 5 just came out and made this really easy to do. So you can change this to whatever you want, but I just put a custom thing. Check out this article I found, use the Daily Collegian app, and then you can send a tweet. And then if I go to refresh it here, and there's my tweet, and click on what I tweeted, the article, and check it out. So I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, the email thing gives you a little subject, check out this Daily Collegian article, and gives you the link. So, and then in the center here we have comments. This is the comments for each article, and that number there is the number of comments. So this one has 8 comments. You can click on it,
On the left is the username of the person who wrote the comment, and on the right is the actual comment. So if you click on it, and it tells you, their name and their actual comment, and you can click on all this stuff and go to links that they have in there and stuff like that. So that's the majority of the app. The last part is the classifieds. So all these are the same. They're just different sections. They all do the same thing. Classifieds is a little bit different. Still a table that's sectioned off by what type of classified it is, and you click on it and see the actual classified. What's really cool about this is that if you didn't have this app, you'd either have to, like I said, pinch and have to try to find, say you wanted to contact this person, you have to pinch and try to find this email address and then click on it and then whatever, email that person. Or if you have the paper, you have to copy the address from the paper into your computer or iPhone. What's cool about this is that it's all visible, it's all clear, and you just click, and then there. I saw your advertisement in Daily Collegian, and you can send them an email and get information from them. So, yeah, that's about it. Any questions? Yeah.
How did you decide on the number of articles to display?
It actually displays all of them from the RSS feed. That's on the Daily Collegian website, which is not. It doesn't display. Yeah, it's not displaying. The RSS feed is not displaying every single article. It's displaying. I'm not sure how often they update it, but it goes back pretty far. I think a couple of days. Yeah, like a week. So. Good.
Any questions? Actually, one more.
Yeah.
If you click on one of the links in a news feed, I guess, I don't remember where exactly you saw, I can't remember. They had like detected a link on it. You click on that, does that just open it up in Safari?
I'll show you here. That's not the one. Yeah, so if I open that up, it actually loads it inside of the app itself. It doesn't open up Safari. I clicked on the internet, it's slow. Yeah, this website doesn't scale well, I know that. I can't control that, I guess, but yeah. So it actually loads it up inside the app itself. It doesn't require going out to an outside app like Safari and loading it up. So it's all there.
Because I was trying to do that, and I was reading that.
You go out to Safari?
I have like links from their tweets,
right?
And it kept. I've read somewhere that the text views you can't like control what it does with the link. It's like you have to extend the UI application class.
I do that. Good.
No questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
That's cool.
All right, so I did the PSU ID Plus app, and basically what it does is it hooks up, it links up to your line cache or your campus meal plan, and at the same time it will also display any line cache plus merchants around you or throughout the entire campus and on every single campus. So motivation behind that is a lot of times, especially now at the end of the semester, I'm running out of money because I don't want to have that much money in my line cache because I don't consider it real money. So I only add as much as I need. So with this app, I can always just check how much money I have before I buy something and say, okay, I have this much. Or if I don't have enough money, then I can just add in more money. And it's pretty simple to use. Or if, yeah, and I'll explain more. There we go. Yeah, just like that. Alright. We zoom out.
Oh, wrong button. Okay.
Big screen. That's it. That's it. Right, we can make this smaller. There we go. And then let's zoom in again. Plus. Alright, so here's the app. First I need to log in. And you just use your normal web access account. And once you log in, it will display all of your accounts and how much money you have in each one. So you see there, I have a little bit of money. You're able to
Fruit Loops.
Yeah. Well, can't buy much. Yeah. So yeah, you can deposit money, put in like $5.01 because that's what they require. They can't put in $5. And I can see all my recent transactions, which I have none apparently. Hopefully it'll work this time. Alright, we'll come back to that later. And you can also deactivate and reactivate your card. And this works instantly. So if you lose your card in the lab or something and you don't want anybody to steal your little amount of money that you have and buying stuff, then you can just deactivate it. It'll be immediately deactivated, and once you find it again, or you can reactivate it clicking these buttons. Yeah. All right. So the internet's going a bit slow. And there's also, you can see all of the merchants. Here we're going to see the nearby ones. So Reese's Cafe is the closest one. You can see the information, where it is. You can go to its website, which will open up a new view in Safari, so it's a lot bigger. And the internet would load it eventually. Yeah. And you can see how far away it is. Also, with the merchants, there's something so you can check in. There's around 400 merchants across all the campuses, and so I got them all together, and I got about 80% of them their Foursquare addresses. And what Foursquare is it's a application where you can go somewhere and you can check in, and what checking in means is like, hey, I'm here. And you can also see what other people are saying about the location that you're at. So, give an example. This just loaded up the Foursquare app. It's really disappointing. Yeah. Get my internet out. But you would be able to see that Bradley's, the restaurant, has their own Foursquare, which they own, and they offer specials through that through Foursquare. So if you check in, you can get like a free drink there. And you can also click on their website. If this was an iPhone, you'd be able to tap on the phone and then be able to call them, maybe order delivery, since they do delivery. And if you click here, nuts. It's gonna, if the internet worked, it would show you a map of the location, and then you would be able to get directions. So yeah, and it's just sorted in a bunch of different ways. You can see all the specials that are offered through. There's Lion Cash featured merchants of the month, and that's just what these are. And yeah. So no, the internet's not working at all. Yeah. Okay. So how do we go back? So I had a backup plan in which I took screenshots of it working. So there's some recent transactions. It would just show you the place where you bought it, which account you used. So I used my campus meal plan to buy something at Sisu last night. You can deactivate. You can change campuses to any campus, and it has all the ones that are listed on the Lioncache website. And then you can see the example going through Foursquare. And yeah. Yeah, so any questions?
So when
Yes.
you do the action of like activating or deactivating your card, are you just like sending a web request
Yes.
to the action that's posting that and controls that action?
Yes.
And you're just waiting for the response. Okay.
Yeah, it gets a response, and it says whether it succeeded or not.
Right.
It'll tell you, hey, you deactivate your card, or your card's already deactivated, you can't deactivate it again.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
And the same for when you add cache?
When you add cache, it'll tell you there's either an error or that it was successful, and then it will immediately reload your balance, and you'll see that it's added.
When you're adding cache and stuff, do you actually send the request to the website? Is that how it works?
Yes. So what it does is it, that's broken. So what it'll do is you type in how much money you want. It'll send that to the payment processor, and then you'll load up the page for the actual payment processor. I'm not actually touching your credit card at all. So it'll load up that page. Once you click submit, it'll go through a series of pages, and then eventually the app will detect that you've finished and send you back to the home screen.
Did they have an API, or did you just essentially leverage the web interface as the API?
They do not have an API, and yeah, I just do that.
No. When you logged in, you had to go to the cosign
Yes.
page to actually log like user ID and password. We didn't see it on there, obviously.
Yeah.
But I didn't see it, so you have to go in.
That happened when I managed to successfully log in. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't know if there was the API.
Oh, so yeah. So it just logs in through web access. It saves your cookies, and that's what it does. Yeah.
I was just going to ask that same.
Okay.
Any questions? All right, thank you. And then just Ryan, is that right? Okay.
All right, so I did a Penn State homecoming app. Basically, the goal of this is to take Penn State's homecoming website and basically get it down to a mobile-friendly version on the iPhone. Pretty straightforward. Lots of different stuff that you can add to it, and here's just some results of what it looks like. Basically, I'm just going to go through some of these things for you, and give you the real thing. So, alright, so when you start the app, you have all these different icons. RSS feed, Twitter feed, online store, pretty much everything you see there. So let's start the RSS feed. Basically just pulls it in from the website, and see they announced the new 2012 executive committee. Twitter feed pulls in from Penn State Homecoming's Twitter feed, and then shows all their most recent tweets. You can click on it, load it up, links inside of it you can bring up. To answer Ben's question earlier, mine's actually like, I display the text from the Twitter feed in a web view, and then I just make the web view full screen, load a different link, and then you can go back. Instead of a text view, because I ran into the same problem you did. Yeah. So in the store, so I worked at the homecoming tech committee and stuff, so I was able to access their servers and everything, and basically I actually created the store that's on the website right now. So I just made a mobile version of the store, and basically it's just a version that works on mobile size basically. It's just Google Checkout, so everything works with that. You pick your shirt, you check out, and it goes through the normal Google Checkout. Calendar.
Doesn't work great on the simulator. It's not very happy with the scrolling, but on my phone and stuff, it works just fine. It has a tendency to click when you don't actually click. So, but I mean, basically, you can still see all the different things that are on Penn State Homecoming's Google Calendar. Pulls them right in, and you can see it. Parade route. So that probably put me in San Francisco, but for the parade route, basically has your starting location of the parade, the end of the parade where it's at. Also shows you where they're judged, and then pep rally afterwards. So basically, it's just normal map view. You can see it'll show your location, so you can see where you're at, see if you're sitting somewhere on the route or wherever. So a new thing they wanted to add this year was a photo gallery, and that's going to be put on the website. So basically, we created a template version and put some just template images up there so that we can get it working on the phone before it's even on the website. So click on here, it loads in all the different events that are available for that. And click on the game, and then basically it has all your photos here, and you can go through and scroll through them all. And that's all dynamic, so they don't have to worry about changing anything in the app. They just put the pictures and everything in the different events folders and stuff on the website, and it automatically pulls everything in. We also have a little visitor's guide here. Basically, it just shows different events, hotels, dinner, late night, whatever you want, really. And click on it. One of the things I wanted to add that I didn't get a chance is basically have websites built in for these, and when you click on it, it gives you the option to go and view the website for the Atherton Hotel, for example. And then Facts yet isn't implemented. This is an app that I'm going to continue to work on for Homecoming over the next few months, and hopefully we'll get it on the App Store. Then we have our Contact Us. Basically has all the directors, so you can select a director, send an email, brings them up, automatically populates it with information for that specific director, and then send away. So that's basically my app. Any questions?
Very good. Thank you, Tommy. And our last one, I think. Oh no, so you have you. So you have two Ryans. So Ryan and then Ryan. So
you want to go first?
No. Simulator?
Yeah, I have the coordinates for this room.
Okay.
Spent enough time in here. All right. Because I'm very proud of my little blue button that Kaylin showed me how to get. Oh, 36. That was a.
He's coming with latitude and longitude. It's the big gun.
It'd be really scary if I knew that off the top of my head. All right.
That's right.
Oh, got that one. All right. So my name is Ryan Mullins. This is a historical tour of Penn State campus done in cooperation with Information Technology Services and the Penn State Libraries. Penn State we have one of the most robust collections of data about our campus of any university in the country. And we're inspired by this Wolf Walk from North Carolina State. They have a similar level of data and a similar kind of need for it with a bunch of students. So we wanted to create an iPhone app that was kind of like a self-guided tour through the buildings of campus and their history, like why they're there. So that's kind of what we did. I borrowed ideas from their app. I really like that linear flow of it. If you look at it, kind of, you start out with a map, you go into an event, and then you get to check out the event for that building. So we started out with a linear flow, worked with ITS and Penn State Libraries to create a couple of web-based services that we can access images and building locations and stuff like that. I want to make that a little bit more robust so that we can continue this. I'd really like to make this something that, as a collection, this is just something that works for the buildings. There's all kinds of, we could make an entire app on just the Civil War data that we have and the images from special collections. So this is something that I want to lay down as a kind of like kind of like a stepping stone into a greater app that could be used to really explore Penn State history. So this is kind of some screenshots of what I did, and I will get to demoing the app here. It's very simple, kind of linear flow. Starts out with a nice picture of Old Main. Oh, what happened to my hexagons? I worked so hard. There they are. So for whatever reason, I don't have my current location, but we're right here. So these are hexagons. There's the Penn State map that you saw in Kaylin's presentation earlier is made by the Gould Center and Cindy Brewer in the geography department. And that map has roughly 300 buildings on it. And at any given time, you know, you're trying to fit that on a 3.5-inch screen. It's pretty hard to do. So one of the things that the geography department has come up with and I've worked on is this idea of hexagon binning that allows you to click on a hexagon or a set of hexagons if you're interested in this area. You come in and you can actually see which buildings are inside of this if you drill down deep enough. I've been using Old Main here as kind of my test app. Once you load in to a certain zoom level, then your level of detail is great enough that you can come in and actually look at individual buildings. Otherwise, you kind of end up with little clusters like this guy out here at these are the Nittany Apartments for the grad students. The Commons get a little worse yet. So let's just take once you select a building. I always like to look at Old Main because it's kind of the, you know, it's the administrative center of Penn State, and it's where they geocode everything that involves Penn State too on Google. So you click on that, and you come up with this list of events. So they're time synchronized in this table view here to the years. This is Old Main since it burned down and we rebuilt it. So you can take and look at any of these images. You have the name of the event and what it is, the year that it happened, and the contributor of the photo to the library collection. You can then click on that and it'll bring up the actual image itself. And if you want to find out more about that image and who created it, you just tap on it. To dismiss that, tap on it again, and you know, that's kind of the flow. It's very much a young app, and it has a lot of possible changes, but I really I'm very proud of how it's turned out so far and what we can really do with this. So, does anybody have any questions? Oh, Jack first. Sure. Can you do the thingy? No. No. Yeah, he's talking about the iPhone allows you to do multiple drag gestures and zoom in on the images. Some of them are a high enough resolution that would be of value. Some of them, the second that you even start doing that, they just pixelate and go to nothing. So, any other questions? Frank?
Do you want to go all the way back to Penn State's founding? Is that the
yeah, that's the end goal. Right now there's a bit of a disparity in getting the massive amount of data that they have at the library, first of all, into a database, and second, a way to fast access that. You're looking at literally, I would say, tens of millions of images, probably more. So building a database that can scale to that kind of data source is something that's kind of for Amazon to do. You know,
what could be a good idea if you put this app in the future of Penn State in terms of, for the future of this class, you could have it be incremental.
That'd be interesting.
If you want.
Yeah, actually, this code, if anyone wants to play with it, it's on GitHub. Go to github.com/Ryan Mullins. It's you can fork it there. The repository is PSU Campus Tour at the moment. That might be changing names eventually, but feel free to play around with it, build it yourself if you like. So, any other questions? All right, thanks.
All right, now I think we have our last.
How do I get to the other workspace?
3 swipe, or you can go up to the upper corner, but
3 swipe, you said?
3 swipe, get you there, and get out of this. You can hit escape too.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Ryan Beard, and for my app I did the Balloonist Logbook. Now what this is basically, I'm a balloon pilot, and we have logbooks like that, where after the flight you have to sit down and you're writing in all your information about your balloon flight and what happened, where you started, all that information. I would make it an easy to use interface just on your phone so that you could remember for later. Like, oh, I saw this neat thing happen here, or that there, something like that. So this is currently what I have. I actually have the, when you create your new flight, and you can save balloons so that you can reference back to other balloons, and then also you can view your previous entries. And also I have it check the current weather, because as a balloon we float around and we don't really like the rain, so you can check the current weather in your area and it gets your location, use it that way. So this is generally what it looks like, but I'm gonna try to do it this way. So first we want to create a new balloon. So I'll type in my personal balloon at home. Nostar 169 Bravo.
Are these standard?
What do you mean standard?
The N number.
Well, each balloon has all of these things, which you would need to, because the N number is essentially like your license plate number for a car.
Yeah.
So then I add the balloon, it kicks you back to here. If we go here, we can check where our saved balloons are, and there it is. So now we go back, we type in star, look up balloon data, and it fills in all this stuff here. So now the rest is unfortunately by hand, but date 12, 17, why not? Go through, and I'll just skip a lot of it for just for time reasons, but add the entry. So now we could go into view previous, and I didn't put the date in, so okay, well,
I think you put 12/12/2012, so it might have crossed it out.
yeah, I don't know. It should at least recognizes that it's there. So not sure. And then we can also check the weather. So if the GPS is currently working, it should. No, it's not. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But this would come up with, it would go to weather.com and automatically bring you to the location. So
it scoops up your location when it's working?
Yeah. So it would say currently foggy. So that is how the app looks in action. Weather. Now what I'd like to do in the future is I'd like to change that whole enter the flight stage, because currently it's a little crude. You have to go through, you have to type in all your information. I'd like to put little buttons where when you take off, you hit a button, takes your GPS location, fills in start. Same with your landing, and even I'd like to track every minute where you are, and then it'll output on a map your checkpoints and waypoints all the way through the flight. And I'd also like to add pictures, so at the beginning of the flight, or if you're flying, you see a pack of deer, you take a picture, save it to the flight, you have that for later. And any questions?
So is there any way to get altitude out of our phones? I don't think so, but
I don't think as of now.
Yes, you can.
Oh, you can?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I was wrong. So I could track the altitude as well.
When it gets high enough, you can just say, we're off. Go to bed for things are
Any others?
Any other questions?
Is there no texting about flying rule?
Not that I know of. Ooh, that could be fun.
Could you get like wind speed and then plot your trajectory, like projected? This because of the wind, I'm going to be ending up somewhere around this area.
That really depends, because then you would also have to register what altitude you plan on flying at, because every altitude has a slightly different wind direction and wind speed. So you could be flying at dead west or due west, at 1,000 feet, go up 20, 30 feet, and get a shear that takes you almost completely north. So there are websites that track out all the different layers, but then you'd also have to guesstimate ahead of time, oh, I'm going to fly at exactly this altitude, which we don't really do. We kind of contour and have fun. So, okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's all good. Okay.
So I think that's it for all our presentations. I want to thank all the students. I do hope that some of these apps eventually will make it to the App Store and represent Penn State. Since my presenter app didn't work, well, this is an app that, Joe DeGaulle, our teaching intern here, and I developed. The last assignment the students had to do was version of the Penn State Live app. Kaylin.
I was just wondering, did anybody last year have theirs go on App Store?
One student last year did, yes. She did,
Was Anna?
Anna Rish's app. She did an app for her mother's church. And these are a very high-tech church that was already doing podcasts and things. Yeah. She basically did the app for her. Okay. Yeah, so she had the app in the App Store. Their last assignment was actually to do the Penn State Live app, and they had a week to do it, and they did a pretty good job with it. This is a version that our teaching intern, Joe DeGaulle, a successor from last year's course, and I put together. So we have, it's the Penn State Live feed, and you've seen this kind of thing from a lot of the apps you've seen. This starts with just the latest headlines. We can go over and then add any of the other feeds. Let's see what's happening over in Du Bois. And sustainability, science and technology. And now we can just sort of scroll between the different feeds and see what's happening in engineering. Yeah. So we have one of our department heads, Dr. Tolley, was down at the White House. We have a little information about her. You can click on the links, and they'll take you to appropriate to various apps and so forth. So this was just our contribution for an app. I think that's going to be it for our presentation. I want to thank you all for coming. It's been great. I want to thank definitely the people around the university who contributed ideas and support for our students. I think it was a very valuable experience. And come back next year for the next crop of students. Thank you.